Alright, we're gonna take a little pause from the DC talk we've been having lately. Last night I watched Vice on Netflix, which was directed by Adam McKay and produced by Will Ferrell and Brad Pitt. Oddly enough, that movie took me 2 years, maybe even 3 now, to actually get around, and I don't understand why. So first of all, let me make it clear, I'm not political. I don't get into politics at all, and frankly, I don't even really understand them all that much. So Vice was definitely not my type of movie, but I could not withstand from the cast it had, especially when it has 2 of my favorite actors in the film, and my favorite actors being Christian Bale, who is my favorite actor of all time, then Steve Carell as well, who I would honestly say he's probably in my top 5 or top 7. He's up there. The star-studded cast, which would be Christian Bale and Steve Carell and Amy Adams and Sam Rockwell and Tyler Perry and a couple of others. Originally I was thinking maybe I'll do a review on Vice, but I already know I would just be the wrong person to review this movie. Once again, to I think maybe review this film, you need to have a solid understanding of politics, and the last thing I want to do is review this movie based off of the content it offered me, based off of the movie as a movie, and based off the nature of the film, which is political. I don't really want to embarrass myself and make it seem like I know exactly what this movie is talking about as a whole. So I'm not going to review it, I'm just going to talk about it. What the movie did so well was makeup, hair and makeup. Whoever was on this squad, like, now, just before I made this video, like 2 minutes before, I went on IMDb and I'm like, I swear, if they did not win an Oscar for hair and makeup, something's wrong. Something's wrong with the Oscars. And they did. They did win an Oscar for hair and makeup, because how they made Christian Bale look like Dick Cheney blows my mind. There were scenes in that movie where I was confused if I was watching Dick Cheney or if I was watching Christian Bale playing Dick Cheney. Insane. Also, Amy Adams as Lynn, his wife. She looked so much like his actual wife in real life. It's wild. I don't understand how they did such a good job. And then Steve Carell playing Donald Rumsfeld. I didn't really know who this guy was, so I looked him up. And even him, they made Steve look like him so well. Whoever they hired for that movie, first of all, putting all that makeup on and prosthetics, like that must have been so long. It must have taken such a long time, especially with Christian Bale. Like, that's not how Christian Bale looks. But the fact that they made him look more like Dick Cheney than Christian Bale is what is so amazing about it. Christian Bale as Dick Cheney does become bigger and bigger and larger as the movie goes on. He starts losing his hair, and it's like a steady period from the first moment you see him in 1963 all the way up until 2004, 2005. Something like that. And it just not only reminds me, but it blows my mind the method actor that Christian Bale is and the lengths he goes to complete his task and to complete his role. I mean, if you need someone who is going to do their job, who is going to take it to the next level and be absolutely dedicated, Christian Bale is your man. Now, I believe it was last year, so that would have been maybe a year and a half, 2 years after Vice came out in theaters. Christian Bale did announce that he was done taking roles that required him to put himself through those body transformations. And when you look at Christian Bale's career, that is basically all he has been doing his entire film career. When you look at him in the Batman series as a whole, he was ripped. He was over like 220 pounds and just pure muscle. He was in great shape, but where was he before that movie, before Batman Begins? Well, only like 8 months before Batman Begins, he was in that popular movie that a lot of people recognize him from because of the physical torment he literally had to put himself through. He was in a movie called The Machinist, and he literally weighed 80 pounds. That was it. He was just sagging skin and bone. He had nothing on him. And he even found out that around filming of the movie, or the end of filming of The Machinist, he found out he only needed to be 90 pounds instead of 80. And I mean, once it gets to that point, losing an extra 10 pounds is probably going to be a bigger deal than you would think. You're thinking, oh, I'm 80 pounds. What does it matter if I was supposed to be 90? When you're a grown man like him at only 80 pounds, that is a big problem. That is a life transformation that would put anyone into serious physical and mental disorders. That is a life transformation that could dive you deep into depression and all of that type of stuff. And Christian Bale is the man who says, if I have to do that to accomplish my job in this role, I'm going to do it, which is absolutely mind-blowing. So you've seen Bale do this nearly his entire career, from The Machinist to the Dark Knight trilogy. Then right after the Dark Knight trilogy, he hops on over to American Hustle. He gained a lot more weight. It looked like it had to have been at least 80 pounds of just fat. He just looked awful in that movie, but he's doing what he's got to do. And then after that, he moves on to Exodus, God and Kings, where he played Moses in that movie, so he had to get a little more physically fit again. And then he did The Big Short, which was also with Steve Carell and directed by Adam McKay. So they clearly like working together, and they clearly have a connection together. But anyways, in that movie, he had to slim down again. He looked very skinny in that movie. And then he went to Hostiles, and in Hostiles, he played a Western sheriff, and he needed to be more physically fit again. And then he goes to Vice with Dick Cheney, and over time, he gets bigger and bigger, bolder and bolder, and he didn't look well for Christian Bale. He didn't look all that great. And then right after Vice, he goes to Ford and Ferrari, and he's fit again, or somewhat fit. He's leaner. He looks a little bit better. So this guy's always going up and down in weight. I don't blame him for saying that he's done with that. He's done that his entire career. He doesn't want to do it anymore. Even if I was in his position, if I was a high profile actor like that, I don't even really know if I would want to go through all of that type of body transformation. The people who work out and do that stuff for a living know how hard it can be to constantly go up and down in weight, gain muscle, lose muscle, and it's just, it seems so tiring and so stressful and irritating. That's why the only workouts I do are these stairs in my house, up and down, up and down. That's all you need. No, but for real, that's why I absolutely love Bale. It's not only the movies he's been in that I love, and it's just his work ethic. It's just the fact that he is willing to go to those extents to make sure that the reality of the movie you are watching feels as real as it can get. Another thing I noticed about Vice was Sam Rockwell, which I think Sam Rockwell is a very underutilized actor today in the industry. I feel like he should be in a lot more stuff. He was nominated for an Oscar for the supporting role of that movie because he played George Bush. There were times where I could not even tell the difference between George Bush and Sam Rockwell as George Bush. Their mannerisms were the same, the way they looked was exactly the same, the way he moved, the way he acted. If not Dick Cheney as... I was gonna say Dick Cheney as Christian Bale. If not Christian Bale as Dick Cheney, then Sam Rockwell, if he was even maybe in the film maybe 5 or 10 minutes more, they could have seriously given him a nomination for Best Actor, not supporting role, Best Actor. A whole movie as Sam Rockwell as George Bush, I would be down for it. It's just so mind-blowing to me that this is something I didn't know for not knowing too much politics, especially American politics. I did not know Cheney was basically running America behind the scenes, and Bush was kind of just the face of America. It almost looks like Bush was just trying to be president to impress his father. Bush had all the right connections and all the right people to push the votes in his favor. And Cheney almost in a way conned him, like, you'll be president, but you're gonna let me handle this and this and this and this and this. You're gonna let me run the White House, basically, in all of America while you just sit in your pretty office and look pretty. So I definitely didn't know how much power Dick Cheney actually had. Even to this day in 2021, America is still suffering from some of the decisions that Cheney made back in like 2001 to 2005 or however long it was, but they're also benefiting from a lot of things that he decided to do under his term as well. Now, last thing I want to say here is both for Christian Bale and Steve Carell. In recent memory, it seems like Steve Carell does a lot of films that were once based on true stories. For the life of me, I don't understand why Steve Carell hasn't not only won an Oscar, but how Steve Carell hasn't just been nominated for more. I also looked this up too. Steve Carell only has one nomination, and that was Foxcatcher with Channing Tatum. And he almost won that one. He should have won that one, but he hasn't been nominated since. The thing about Steve Carell is he puts his whole body and mind and soul into those roles, and I just, for the life of me, can't understand why he hasn't at least been nominated. And that brings me to Christian Bale as well. He has one Oscar win, and that was supporting actor in The Fighter with Mark Wahlberg. Yeah, absolutely, he deserved to win that. But tell me how he hasn't won for more movies. I don't understand. Christian Bale, of all people, doesn't even have an Oscar win for Best Actor. And I can't for the life of me understand why. He has been nominated multiple times, but he doesn't have a win. He was nominated for Vice and playing Cheney, and after seeing that movie, I honestly think he should have won. Then again, I can't remember who he was running up against in 2018. That might have been the Revenant year when Leonardo DiCaprio won, which he's another one I don't understand how he only has one win. We're not gonna get into that. But look at some of the movies he's done. There's American Hustle, there's 3:10 to Yuma, there's American Psycho, there's The Machinist. Please just take the Dark Knight trilogy. I completely understand that he wouldn't have won an Oscar for playing Bruce Wayne Batman, because usually I think you need to expect this when you play Batman and when you make a good enough movie to actually be nominated for an Oscar. Usually you are going to be beaten out by your villain. Batman is only as good as his villains, especially when it comes to movie form. You usually want Batman's villains to be a lot more compelling than him, but even in saying that, I still think Bale played Batman to the best of not only his ability, but to the best of everyone's ability. During that time, I don't think anyone else could have played Bruce Wayne Batman in Christopher Nolan's trilogy. So even the fact that he wasn't even nominated for Bruce Wayne Batman in the Dark Knight trilogy, not even once, I just don't understand how Christian Bale has not won not only more than one Oscar, but he hasn't even won a Best Actor Oscar, and it just kind of blows my mind. I'm not too sure if this was a video about the movie Vice or if it was actually about Christian Bale, but you know, I'm just gonna say it's all one and the same right now because it's all dealing with the same topic. If you have not seen Vice, and if you are not into politics like me, I still highly suggest this movie because you will learn something. You'll learn a lot of things, which I definitely did, and I do have a little bit of a better understanding when it comes to politics in certain areas, but just for filmmaking wise and production and acting and hair and makeup, it really reminds you that you don't need CGI to make someone look different. Nowadays, it's all about special effects and all this technical stuff, and you don't always need it. If you have a trained eye, a good hand, and you know how to handle that stuff, I'm telling you, it might as well have actually been Dick Cheney playing Dick Cheney. Anyways, like I said, check it out. You won't regret it. It is definitely worth a watch, just especially if you want to be fascinated by all of that type of stuff. Alright guys, until next time, talk to you soon.